Don't settle for fakes. My dualtaning is the real deal.
Hey everyone, this is MechLord, and this is my reaction to the newest TCG ban list. I'm really late to this conversation, reason being that I don't really play TCG at the moment. I didn't find the last couple of formats particularly fun or interesting. But you know, content is content, and at least one of you asked me to do this, so let's go. So I've already seen the list, already know everything that's been hit or unhit, so I'm just gonna share my thoughts on this as someone who doesn't really play TCG but might change that. Okay, so Artifact Thief is forbidden, that's good, it's a piece of shit card, nobody likes it. Buy a Statue of the Stormwind, forbidden, also good, piece of shit card. I played Flu, like, that was the last deck that I played before I took a break from the TCG. Stormwinds is an annoying as fuck card. Flu is more interesting without Stormwinds and still very much playable. And it pains me to see people, mostly on Twitter, arguing that Flu is unplayable now because they don't have the one floodgate that nobody liked playing against. What else is there? Kid Killers, forbidden. Like obviously there are more tier hits and Ishizu hits on the way, but that alone was not enough to like stop tearlaments in the OCG, and even with every single card being hit, I think tearlaments is still a pretty decent engine that you can play in other decks. I'm thinking Kashtira Tearlaments is going to be a deck that exists and is going to do stuff. I might be wrong. I just saw there was a card called Kashtira Tearlament. I read it once and I was like, oh, this is powerful. And then I never, I forgot what it does. All I know is that Kid Kalos is like a fusion material for Rukalos, and that Rukalos is a good card. So the elements are still gonna try to find ways to make Rukalos, I reckon. There's nothing else that's been forbidden, as I remember. The Ishizu cards have all been hit. Again, I don't know what each individual card does, I just know that they mill you, which, like, this is the worst design ever. So, like, Magic the Gathering had this exact same issue, right? They had a set with a mechanic called Dredge, and what Dredge did was basically, instead of drawing a card, when a card with Dredge was in the graveyard, you could mill yourself of their Dredge amount. So if it said Dredge 5, you could mill 5 cards from the top of your deck and add the card back to your hand. And in Magic the Gathering, it's not like the graveyard is an important resource specifically for these decks, but there's not nearly as many recursion from the graveyard. And there's not nearly as many wacky effects that happen from the graveyard. Like there's some creatures that just bring themselves out when they're sent to the graveyard. There's some enchantments that do a couple of stuff. But it was still like considered such a powerful strategy, especially for decks that could use the graveyard. Like what's the card's name? Ugag, that could just exile cards from the graveyard to bring itself out. It's never going to be printed again. There isn't going to be any more Dredge cards, and the couple of Dredge cards that do exist in like legacy formats have been severely not nerfed but like restricted or just straight up forbidden for some of them. I think Golgari Grave Troll is forbidden in pretty much every format, and that's a motherfucker. But then Konami went ahead and printed the Ishizu cards. Just, I don't know. These cards should never have existed. Tearlaments was like already doing pretty good in the TCG without these cards existing. And now it has to do with only one copy of each of its cards. Most of which were budget, by the way. Like Tearlaments was not that expensive a deck, aside from the field spell, I reckon. So yeah, that's fun. Yeah. Ancient Fairy Dragon got an errata. I think the errata is in Duel Links also, but I forgot what it did. I think it had once per turn the field spell effect. Yeah, whatever. Semi-limited, nothing changed. And unlimited, there's a couple of cool stuff. This Trudeau is a huge mistake. Because, you know, we got very busted out the ass synchro monsters, and even with Alkban, this Trudeau is just a rather problematic card on its own. Like, life points don't matter, so the cost on this is just inexistent. Jack Synchron or Lion are basically the same cards. You know, one card, Link 2s, which is fine, I guess, whatever. Endymion is like a rare W for all 3 people that still care about Pendulum. I don't know if it's playable, but I don't know much about the game. Lithosa Gem is making me hyped to build dinosaurs, especially with the new support coming. That's, you know, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Really good dinosaur support on the way. Yaragarasu has been power crept to the point of not being relevant anymore. And before people go, oh, Flu is going to abuse this, Yaragarasu is not a winged beast, it's a fiend. So Flu can't search this. So, and Spiral Resorts. Spiral has been in and out of the meta because it's poorly designed archetype, let's be honest. But with Master Plan banned, there's no reason to keep Resorts on the limited list, I reckon. So, whatever. This has been one of the ban lists of all time. Konami's goal is clear. They want you to buy Kashtira, and they want you to play Kashtira, but Kashtira as a deck is less powerful than tearlaments is overall. Proof of that is that Kashtira failed to uphold its reputation as the tearlaments killer in the OCG. But yeah, no, I don't know. I might go back to playing TCG. I can still play Flu with like just replay Stormwinds with the 3rd M-Pen or something. And make dinosaurs, and then, of course, the Nouvelles monsters, which are pretty cool. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the ban list. It's good, I guess. It's a good ban list. But I don't look forward to play against Kashtiras. I need to learn what they do first. Thank you for watching the video. Goodbye.